Human resources, human capital, people, and culture. This single vocation has many names. HR professionals are responsible for what is arguably the most critical success factor within any organization. It's talent. HR Studio Podcast brings you bi-weekly interviews with HR executives, thought leaders, authors, speakers, and trend spotters from the world of HR and beyond. Listen, learn, and leverage. Welcome to HR Studio Podcast, building the next generation of HR leaders. HR Studio is brought to you by A.J. O'Connor Associates, a trusted human capital consulting partner to emerging, mid-market, and world-class organizations. For over 35 years, AJO has built its reputation on experienced listening, exceptional quality, and caring partnerships, delivering services in 30 states and 20 countries. To learn more, visit us at ajoconnor.com and be sure to check out our top-ranked HR blog and sign up to receive email alerts while you're there.
Welcome to HR Studio Podcast. My name is Linda Halavic, and I'll be your host for today's conversation. We are very fortunate to be joined today by an innovator, a disruptor really, in the space of learning and development or learning and education. And this individual's name is Isaac Tolpin. And Isaac is a gentleman who he's an entrepreneur and a futurist at heart. He's on a mission really to enable brands to authentically connect and inform at scale. He has recently focused on cultivating a vineyard. He is a keynote speaker. He is a digital marketer. He's an Edtech disruptor. And he is really one of the true pioneers of what we refer to now as micro-training technology. Welcome to HR Studio.
Hey, Linda, Kyle, so good to be here.
It's great to have you too. Can you kick us off and just what is micro-learning technology?
Well, on a simple scale, it's aligning with human behavior by delivering bite-sized pieces of content versus longer form. But I think there's a bigger explanation, which is it's not less content. It's just breaking it down so there's more completions in between and more engagement.
Okay, so bite size seems to be the key, really the key word as you describe it. You are a co-founder of conveyor.com, and from what I've read through preparing for our conversation today, you're kind of the leading provider of technology or a technology platform for this micro-learning space. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say we're number one in engagement. So we have really pioneered a way to create an experience or enable companies and brands to create an experience that really people love to consume. And I think that's the key.
So why is it, can you share with us from your perspective, this kind of innovative trend that's beginning to show itself really, why is it happening? I mean, what is it you think that's driving this shift in how people are learning? Because this is critical for all of our listeners who, are HR professionals at all levels, right? Always challenged by providing more and more value, right, to their internal customers.
Yeah, I think a couple things. The two sides to it, really. There's one side is our attention spans are smaller. I mean, just let's look at how long do we stick to a YouTube? It's a YouTube world. How long do we watch a Facebook video or something like that? We're used to getting instant feedback for little things we do, like a like or a comment or a response to something. And so that's the one side of it. On the learner side, on the other side, companies care more than ever about culture, employee engagement, all these really, really important things. And I think everybody's waking up like what we're giving them in training doesn't align. And it's the very antithesis of the culture we're trying to create.
It's the antithesis because, fill in that blank for me, I'm going to guess, but why is it the antithesis? I think it's a great word. I agree with you.
Because you're boring people to death and you're screaming irrelevancy when you give them an experience that's inferior to what they use every day in their lives, like an iPhone. So that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's great. Can you share with the audience a little bit about how it works? I mean, what is like a bite of learning, if you will? How does it work? Say someone wanted to learn how to be a better communicator, for example. What would something like that look like in a micro-learning experience?
Well, let's say the content's 60 minutes worth of actual content. Let's just say that. Okay. So on anything. And what I would do is I'd break that into 2 to 5 minute videos, sometimes 1 minute videos, depending on the use case. And I would have a lot of small chunks. And then the best thing I would do is if I have employees, I would drip feed that out to them, deliver it to their mobile device with a text notification. They click a unique learner link, so there's no login. They go right into a portal and get a micro lesson. Wow. And then they get another one in a couple days, or you make it self-paced. But instead of that one big chunk or 3 20-minute videos, you break it down into a lot of small chunks and you make it engaging and follow the rules for microlearning.
Wow. Now, you work with a host of clients already, and you've embedded the technology, correct? And you have your platform up and running very successfully in large organizations.
Yeah. Like Capital One's using it, and companies like that, to mid-sized, small companies as well. And there's 2 ways they're using it. They're either using it to bring their existing LMS system to life, or they're using it to stand alone as a modern solution.
Yeah. And how much, can you speak to how much you work with that company, if you will, on the content, on the look and the feel? I mean, is this something that's customizable, or is it content that you provide on your platform? How does it come together?
Yeah, we're really the software. Obviously, we have the know-how behind it on the content side, but they're really using their content, putting it together. But you know what we've learned is that they love working with independent contractors. We have these contractors that are talented in the software. They're instructional designers, and they can work directly with them as they want to break down their content and bring it to life. But really, you know what? HR people are pretty keen. They're pretty smart, and they already know that there's a need for this, and they get so excited when they see it. And I think that, it's pretty simple to make a 3 to 5 minute video. It's much harder to make a 15-minute video. You got to entertain them longer, right?
It is. Yes.
So let's put more pressure on the software and less pressure on the video editing, and that makes it easy.
So, but how does the software keep the learner, if you will, involved over time, right? Because everybody's working on 1,000 things faster than ever. How do you is it interactive? Is there an AI piece in there that keeps, the learner engaged with the system? How does that work, if you can?
Yeah, totally. I think that let's call it learner trust. Let's talk about that for a second. So if you break learner trust, you blew it. And most people are breaking learner trust. And learner trust, to garner that and build it over time, is delivering a lesson within 5 minutes or less where they complete something, they learn something valuable, is meaningful to them. It actually completes, they get recognized for it, and they can see that recognition with their peers. And if you do all of that in 5 minutes and it's delivered to mobile, that's another key piece.
Yes.
You've won, and then attracts them. Now, to answer more of your question, it's, I really believe dripping it out is powerful. We're seeing up to 100% retention of entire management teams at companies with optional courses that are 30 lessons long. And the reason is because you're not just giving it all at once. That's too much, right? You're not putting a repository over here and say, hey, go log in and learn it whenever you want. Nobody ever wants to, right? And so
it's another to do.
So the key is, it's like when they go, hey, do I have 10 minutes right now? Usually they're going to say no. But do I have 5 minutes right now? We're usually going to say yes. We can fit that in. Even a doctor can fit that in between things.
That's true. Great point. I love that. Yeah. So it drips in. Now, at the end of a 60-minute drip, all right, what's the acknowledgement of completion? You said people can see how they do with their peers. I mean, how does that work in the system, that you feel a sense of accomplishment or completion?
Well, we've got to tap into their achievement drive. And everybody has it, whether they're competitive or not, in their own acknowledgement. But so we give achievement currency. You can give the same amount of points for doing a lesson as everybody else, or you can make it more dynamic where there's right or wrong answers and it's variable. And then the leaderboard is updated based on just participating or participating and getting right answers. And then you can give rewards to people if you want. You know what we realize, though? Even if you don't give a reward, it propels them to come back, because now it's like a flywheel. Jim Collins in Good to Great had this flywheel concept where how do you be successful with something? Well, it's not one thing. It's many, many, many things. So I don't want anybody listening to think it's just the gamification that makes it work. It's the gamification, social learning, small bite-sized pieces, compelling content that's direct, dripping it out, the sequence, all that stuff.
Mastery. Yeah, that's very cool. So it's almost like playing Candy Crush, huh? But at work and you're learning something. You got the leaderboard. You see your competitors. I love that.
A lot of times though, HR gets a little scared. Some companies get a little scared about using their mobile devices. And you know what? I believe in embracing technology and leading well to help people do well with their tools. Yeah. And so if people are distracted with their phones, that's really a management problem. It's
right.
not, I really believe I would put less control on people and expect people to rise up versus control and let them stay down.
Yeah. No, it's an excellent point. And let's be honest. I mean, depending on age and where you break it, millennials or whatever label you want to put on younger learners today in the workplace, they must eat this up. Am I right?
Oh, they totally eat it up. But you know what? I made a campaign for a course for business owners, and I gave it to them, and they ate it up too.
They ate it up too. Great.
They ate it up the same amount. And I think just we're all in a new world of like instant gratification, immediate feedback. I mean, why do we go back to our Facebook feed? And if you're not one that goes back to Facebook, you're going back to something. You're going back to the sports board on watching football or whatever it is. Yeah. We love to see the updates and what's going on. And you have to add that in with good content, bite-sized, and delivered to mobile. Mobile's a big deal. A lot of people go, oh, yeah, of course, mobile. Yeah. But you know what? Most stuff is made for PC and then it also works on mobile. No, it needs to be made for mobile. Cool. And also work on PC.
Yeah. And you guys, so your delivery system is made for mobile, right?
It's made for mobile, but works on everything. And you gotta get rid of friction in production, friction and learning experience. And we did that on both sides because the speed of change is hard to keep up with. Yeah. Everybody can relate to that. Yeah. And if you have a lesson that's outdated, you're probably not going to update it because it costs you so much time and effort to put that. Yeah. But if you make it, if there's less pressure on the editing of the video and it's easy and the software brings it to life, you can just make another one, swap it out. Yeah. That's got to be super easy. So it's got to be easy.
Yeah. That's great. So it's quite a success story. And obviously you are a disruptor. And this solution, not surprised at all to hear how it's being embraced and gobbled up probably everywhere that you bring it, show it, demonstrate it, whatever the term is. How can our listeners learn more about your solution, conveyor.com, et cetera? What's your advice?
Yeah, just go to conveyyour.com, conveyyour.com. Also, we have a couple resources. There's a microlearning webinar. It's 30 minutes of just value, not sales. Best practices, case study in there that I was referred to in here of 75 to 100% retention in corporate. So I'll give you a link to that. And also in there, we're giving away a 19-page ebook, which has an outline. You can brainstorm your course and so forth.
That's great. And all of that can be found on conveyyour.com, correct?
Actually, conveyyour.com, you can find a free demo you can play with. It'll text your phone. You can play with it. Okay. And then I'll give you guys a link to put in the notes for the webinar.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been terrific talking with you. And audience, please go to conveyyour.com and look for the show notes on this podcast for the website and the references that Isaac just made. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening today. Take care.
Thank you for listening to HR Studio Podcast, building the next generation of HR leaders. To discover additional information from this week's episode and to catch up on all episodes, visit hrstudiopodcast.com. Subscribe to the HR Studio Podcast list while there and receive alerts and future updates.